Hey everyone, this is Nick from Mecha Warehouse, and today we're back with weekly update number 51. Let's just jump right into it. So, week in review is where we talk about what's been going on this week, things that are coming up, stuff like that. And I feel like a decent amount to talk about today. A whole lot been going on, a whole lot has been going on, a whole lot coming up, and good stuff there. So I guess first and foremost, we placed our order for January through March production for next year, and it is our largest order to date by, I don't know, maybe like 30% over the previous order. It was kind of like heart-stopping numbers for us. We're not going to get that full order. If we did, it would be insane, just based on how Bandai's been distributing, how they allocate things to various customers based on their orders and the like. But things are growing. We're ordering more stuff. And with that also comes getting our numbers for October, November, and December. Although we really didn't get December yet. We just basically primarily have October and November numbers for October and November production for this year. And that's pretty exciting too. We now have kind of an idea of what is coming in. I still owe a ton of people responses on the Discord to things that are coming in and the like questions. We'll probably be posting those lists on the Discord at some point once I get a chance to breathe. But we got a lot of cool stuff coming in a lot better numbers than some of the prior orders. There's only a few things that we got kind of shorted on, I feel like, and didn't get anywhere near what I wanted. But that, comes with the territory of how just the state of everything is right now. But because we got those numbers, we were able to post up our pre-orders. And so we posted on Tuesday our pre-orders for October and November and a few December production items, and I'll talk about them more during the pre-order section. But I do want to mention that Tuesday being our big pre-order launch for a lot of the new Bandai stuff that's coming, Tuesday wasn't quite a top 3 record day. It almost broke into that though, and almost all from pre-orders, which is absolutely insane. Good news, makes me happy. Help clear some of the credit card debt, so to speak, for a lot of the shipments we got over the past couple months, and helps get us in position to pay for all the other stuff that will be coming in over the next few months. October was pretty solid, but November production is a ton of stuff, like more stuff than we've ever had for a single month. Most of it will probably be showing up in December, but there's going to be a lot of stuff coming, and it's going to be fun dealing with all that stuff coming in and trying to figure out where to put it around here. More stuff though. So I've been super slammed, extremely busy this past week and late last week. Orion is still out. I think he should be back tomorrow, aka the day that you're probably watching this, if you're watching it when it comes out on Friday. So that's good. Hopefully everything works out and he'll actually be back and something else won't come up. But as a result, I've been packing orders. I packed like 30 or so on Wednesday. Couldn't get any coverage from Dylan because of his other part-time job, working full days Wednesday, Thursday. I'll be packing orders today and just trying to fit all that stuff in on top of trying to place this giant order, figuring out quantities, things like that. Interviewing people this week for follow-up interviews, and just everything else that goes on around here. It just seems like everything has come to a head all at once, and it's just been kind of insane. But I think we're past the worst of it with this order placed, so hopefully the next few days I'll be back on top of things, and then things will get kind of better from there. One of the things that was adding to just the chaos, especially on Tuesday, I had 2 interviews. Plus, I interviewed Kate, sat down with my wife and did like a minion interview with her. She's been doing a ton for the business, and I thought it'd be really interesting for people to get kind of behind the scenes. It was a great interview, I thought, and that should be up on this coming Tuesday. And yeah, I'm really excited to have that posted. I think it'll be interesting. We reminisce a little bit about the early days in the attic and before that, and it was a great chat. And then I guess the final thing to talk about with things that are going on this week, coming up on Sunday, the 17th, is GraniteCon. It's an IPMS event here in New Hampshire, in Manchester, New Hampshire. I plan on going. Santana will be in tow. We'll hopefully grab a whole lot of video, so we should have a great vlog up in a couple weeks about that experience, talk to some builders, see some amazing builds. I think I'm going to bring something I've built to enter, just to try it and kind of document that process. So if you've never been to an IPMS event, never entered before, you can see what that's all about, and it should be a good time. If you happen to be semi-local and be there, if you see me, definitely, give me a wave, flag me down. I'd love to chat with you if you're in the area and you're there. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you then if you are local. And so with all that said, let's move on to pre-orders. So pre-orders this week is absolutely insane. Tons of good stuff. I'm going to bring up the website. I'm going to just pick out some highlights here because there are so many things that we got in. And a few of these might already be sold out pre-order wise. One thing that I should mention is that when we do pre-orders, we only take half of our allocation and do it as a pre-order usually. So if Bluefin told us we'd get 100 or something, we only sell 50 as a pre-order. That means that if we get a whole bunch of damage when things are shipped to us, we've got inventory to cover it, and it allows us to have some in stock on the day that we go live. There's a few exceptions to that on some really limited items that we've done, but usually we don't offer those really limited pre-orders on the website. They're done under special circumstances. But we got some crazy stuff this time. So some highlights. There's a new Batman Figurize standard amplified kit coming. There's like no images of it, but I imagine it will be pretty cool if you're in a Batman. Some more 30-minute sisters and 30-minute mission stuff like the Esposito A and B, or Alpha and Beta, I think. They're really cool. They're like the first transformable 30-minute missions kits. They're like a transforming kit kind of design, almost have a tiny bit of like a Advance of Zeta kind of vibe to them, a little bit, and they're really cool looking. We've got these new Limex kits, which are kind of like we've got a Tyrannosaurus kit in recently. I think they're sold out already, but it's basically the same kind of kits. There's also a Triceratops. They're both made out of a new material called Limex, which is a like limestone-based plastic alternative. They're supposed to be more eco-friendly or something like that, but they're pretty cool. And if you're into that kind of stuff, might be worth looking at. The MG Virtue, we've got those up. That was one of the kits that's been asked about a ton. We got a really good allocation for those. I think about half of our pre-orders are sold last I checked. So we still have plenty left, but I wouldn't wait too long because I suspect they probably will sell out before we get them in. Or at least the pre-orders will sell out before we get them in. We got some other Figurize Digimon kits. Those new 86 kits, the Regenleaf, I think, Regenleaf. Another one of those like spidery kind of robot designs. Big Tony from Sakugan. I think the couple of that I'm really interested in though is the Gundam Breaker Battle Log collection. New set of high grades. It's like another build fighters, build divers kind of series essentially. I think that's coming based on a video game that's been out. Blazing Gundam, Command Quant, Perfect Strike Freedom, Barbatorus, Live Lance, Heaven, and the Helios. Those have been doing pretty well. Some really interesting designs there, Barbatorus especially. I think when I was talking to Dylan about it on Tuesday, he was like, it's just like unnecessarily cool. And I could totally agree. If you're the Barbatos, like evil, dark looking designs, and I mean, it's got 4 legs. How can you go wrong there? There's also the new AMAIM. I don't know. I think it's an acronym, but I don't know how to pronounce it. Designs. It's another new anime, and those kits, they're kind of a blockier kind of mecha design, but very cool looking as well. We sold out of the high-grade Gremory, which is a new IBO kit already. The pre-orders, we obviously have more coming, but we didn't get allocated anywhere near as many as we wanted to. A new Pokemon, the Gardevoir. A couple new SD Gundam World Heroes kits. And I think that's basically what we got up in a nutshell. But like I said, if you're into any of those kits and you want to grab a pre-order, I would highly recommend you do it now. We obviously have more that will be coming in that will be for sale when they come in, but if any of those are must-haves, I would check out what's on there ASAP. Next, let's talk about Restocks. Restocks this week is really light, which is actually kind of a saving grace because I've been so busy. We've only got basically a really small gun primer shipment, a few stragglers, 2 items we have in stock already, so I won't mention them, but we do have the gun primer Razor Origin, I believe, which was out of stock. They didn't have them when we placed our other order, so we got a second shipment, so those are back in stock. You can also expect some Display paints to be up on the restock as well. Basically, these are stragglers, things that were broken, and etc. in previous shipments. So not a full restock, but just some of the stuff that we were missing. So if there's certain colors you're looking for, might be worth a quick look there. And that's basically it for restocks this week. We don't have a ton of new restocks. So that leads me to a special section this week, which is this sale. So we've got a really light week for restocks. We've got a ton of stuff coming on the way, and we have a bunch of kits that need love. A bunch of kits that haven't been purchased either much or recently, things that maybe haven't been hot sellers for us. So we're going to run kind of an overstock sale and just try to sell some of these kits that just, they're taking up space. They're not popular items, but might be cool items or things you just haven't seen before. So definitely take a look at the sale. I don't have any more details on that because sometime after I film this, I'm going to be going through our stock and trying to figure out what items are on that list. But you can expect to probably see some Hexagear and Star Wars stuff. You could probably expect to see some SD kits that maybe haven't moved in a while, and just it's definitely worth taking a look because there should be some good deals and some things that you probably would have bought if the price was better, or maybe you just didn't know they existed, and great chance to grab them at a discount, which is always good. But let's move on to Q&A. We've got a bunch of good questions this week. Before I answer them though, just as always, if you have a question that you want answered, whether it be about me, Mecha Warehouse, whatever, post it down in the comments below for this video, and I'll do my best to answer it next week. Okay, so first question I got is from Crazy Rabbit, and he says, are you eventually going to sell items such as Mech Gundam themed phone cases or posters, or are you going to stick to what you currently offer? So this is a great question. I've answered similar kind of questions. Unless we might start carrying that stuff. It depends on who makes it and what's going on. We obviously won't make our own Gundam themed cell phone case, for example, because we don't own that IP. But I could totally see selling more peripheral stuff, just like I'm thinking about eventually carrying more figures and action figures kind of stuff at some point. I could totally see getting into that eventually. Great. So next question is from Bing Crosby. Bing writes, Starsiege Earthsiege kits would be amazing. I thought I was the only one who still remembered and loved that game series. And then he says, quick question, any chance of carrying more generic plot plate, styrene parts, sheets, rods, etc.? I've had very poor experiences from the big hobby places when it comes to selection and customer service for these, so I could see it being a super popular option sales-wise. And the answer is yes. I want to carry that stuff. Like half of the other things that people ask about, it's mostly a capital, space, and time kind of problem. But as we move forward, I'll definitely be trying to figure that stuff out. There's so many options, though, for that kind of stuff. We'd probably start with just the most generic plot plate, most generic things, because some of those companies make some amazing, super specific I-beams and different kinds of things that you might use to build a structure out of. And I'd love to carry it all, and it's just a matter of figuring out which items would be the most popular and building out that selection as we have time. So hopefully in the next few months, it might be on the table. Next one, Keith Rzxbreaker says, a lot of guys seem to be confused about Bandai's order forms for the upcoming production list for the next quarter as being an official reprint list. Is there a difference between the order form and the official monthly reprint list posted on the Bandai Hobby Store site? Can you please explain what happens when you place an order from the production list to when these kits get to you? Basically, like people to see that everything that appears on these upcoming production order forms doesn't mean it's going to be reprinted for that quarter. Thank you for your time and keep up the great work. This is a great question and definitely worth talking about. So thank you for bringing this subject up. So what happens every quarter is that Bandai comes out with a list for the next 3 months. I think before it used to be 1 or 2 months at a time. They're doing planning for a whole quarter at a time now. So 3 months. And that list is everything they could possibly make during those 3 months. They've got a list for, like in this most recent case, they got a list of January items, a list of February items, and a list of March items. They take that list and they distribute it to all the stores. All the stores ask for how many they want of every item on that list. We send it all back in, it all gets sent to Japan, and Bandai decides how many of each item to make. And that how many often is 0. So for example, they might have asked about 7 different real grades. They might have only printed 2 of those real grades for that month. And they've only got so much factory capacity, so they probably picked the 2 real grades that were most popular and had the most orders for them, because they figured it's the one that most people want, they can sell the most of and try to meet that demand. They then also decide how many they're going to make, and then they figure out how to distribute it to everybody. So when you see those reprint lists, often it doesn't mean that everything's getting reprinted. It basically means these are the things that might get reprinted. Some items show up almost every time, every other time. They show up really frequently. Some items, like some of the items that were on this most recent list for January through March, we just haven't seen ever. I've never held the kit in my hand. Some of them I didn't even know existed. And, we ordered some of everything, and then that list gets kind of boiled down to what they decide to make. So the too long didn't listen, I guess, is that list is what could be, and then they come up with a list of what actually is. And we plan on publishing our list of what is on the Discord at some time in the next week or two as we have time. But it's an excellent question and definitely worth knowing, because sometimes when they post those reproduction lists, people get really excited about stuff and then it doesn't actually come through. All right, next question is from Leath1. So we all know the unsung hero of Mecha Warehouse is your wife. Absolutely. So here's a couple questions. When and where did you meet, and what were the first impressions? If too personal, I understand. So I was thinking I was going to maybe ask this during the Minion interview that we just shot, but I totally forgot about it in the chaos on Tuesday. So we met basically through a mutual friend in high school, actually. And this friend set us up on, I guess, kind of a blind date. So I guess we met on that blind date. We went bowling. It was fun and went well, I guess, as you can imagine, because we're still together some... long time after. And first impressions, I assume were good. I think she liked me. At least she'll pretend that. Hopefully she still likes me. I think that's true though. All right. And anyway, next question. Is there any other questions here? Oh, yes. Grayson Perkins says, yeah, man, I have a question. What is the flight velocity of a laden swallow? This is an excellent question. But first, we need to answer the question of what is the flight velocity of an unladen swallow, whether European or African.
Listen, in order to maintain airspeed velocity, a swallow needs to beat its wings 43 times every second, right?
I couldn't find the number for African, mostly because there is technically no African swallow. There are several varieties of swallows that might be considered African, like a South African swallow, for example.
It could be carried by an African swallow. Oh yeah, an African swallow may be, but not a European swallow, that's my point.
But a European swallow, I've seen 2 different estimated numbers. of 11 meters per second or 9 meters per second for an unladen flight velocity. The good thing, though, that makes getting the flight velocity of a laden swallow really easy is the fact that depending on what you are going to weigh down that swallow with, make it laden, is most likely a coconut, because there's clearly nothing else that you would use to weigh down your swallow.
A 5-ounce bird could not carry a 1-pound coconut.
And, most swallows are significantly heavier, or most coconuts are significantly heavier than the swallows that would carry them, and therefore they couldn't carry them. So the flight velocity of a laden swallow is 0. You now have an answer. You heard it here first, folks, and I'm glad that we were able to get the truth out about that. That's all we got for questions this week. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. If you've got a question of your own, post it down in the comments below, and we will catch you next week. See you later.